Hello everyone, hope you're keeping fine. So today we will be looking at the Pearson Edexcel IGCSE English Language P Paper 1 Section A. So we will basically look at the format of the question paper, the types of the questions that you get, and we will also analyze which assessment objectives that each question is focusing on. So having a look at the very initial part of the paper, you can see that you are given 3 hours to answer the entire paper. And also you have the paper reference. So the code number is 4EB1/01. However, in this video, I will be only focusing on the section A, for which you have to spend 1 hour. So let's move on. There are certain instructions given in the paper. So you're supposed to use a black pen or a ballpoint pen. And it says fill in the boxes at the top of this page with your name. So I hope that you could have a look at the previous slide. If you go there once, you can see there is a slot for candidate surname, other names, center number, candidate number. So this is what they mean by the boxes at the top. And in the third point, it says answer all questions in section A. So these are the things you need to read very thoroughly. All questions in section A, the question in section B, and one question in section C. Answer the questions in the spaces provided. There may be more space than you need. Information given, the total mark for this paper is 100. The marks for each question are shown in brackets. So if you look at the question paper, you will see that marks are given. So here I have actually put the marks in a different color, but if you take away this tab, you will see that the marks are given in the brackets. So use this as a guide as to how much time to spend on each question. Yeah, that's very important. If you look at the number of marks given for each question, you can come to some understanding on what kind of an answer is expected from you. Probably it will guide you as to how much of time you need to spend on the question. And the dictionaries may not be used in this examination, and you are given further advices to read each question carefully before you start to answer it. So this is basically an advice given by most of the teachers before you go to sit for your examinations. Check your answers if you have time at the end. This is also very important. If you can at least save around 5 minutes just to go through your answers and see whether there are spelling mistakes, grammar problems, that would be very good. You're reminded of the importance of clear English and careful presentation in your answers. So make sure that your handwriting is very clear and legible, and also use very clear English. Let's move on to the first few questions. So it starts with answer all questions in this section, and you will see that you are given two texts actually in the, which we call the extract. So you have in the booklet, you have two texts given. So this is actually based on text 1, the question 1. Let's read. So you have 1 hour for this section, that is section A. Read text 1 in the extracts booklet, adapted from an article called London Teenager Wins 2017 Young Sailor of the Year Award. So remember, this is text 1, and they have asked you a question. Using lines 5 to 11, state one reason why John Halls thinks Montelfeck and Jordan should win the award. So if you look at this question, and if you have gone through your textbook, of the language textbook, it shows you initially the assessment objectives for each part of your paper. So assessment objective 1 is focusing on reading and understanding a variety of texts, selecting and interpreting information, ideas and perspectives. So you can see that these two questions here are based on the assessment objective 1, and each question is given 1 mark. Let me also read you the second question. In lines 51 to 57, you can see that in both the questions, you are given the line numbers. John Holt identifies some of the positive things that the students have learned. Name one of them. So this is probably, testing your comprehension skills, your ability to grab information, understand the text, and also, sort of interpretation. And this is much easier. Let's move on to the next slide. So this is question number 3. It says, explain how the writer presents the achievements of the students taking part in the Great City Academy sailing program. So probably if you have read this insert, you will understand that this is really about the students taking part in a particular academic sailing program. And the question is how the writer presents the achievements of the students. So remember, this is given 10 marks, and the assessment objective is understanding and analyzing how writers use linguistic and structural devices to achieve their effect. So basically, we are going to look at how the writer has used language in order to present the achievements of the students. So I have given few examples here, but this is not actually the entire answer, because you usually write the answer as an essay. It should be written in connected paragraphs, not as points. But here are a few points for you as examples. So you can basically look at the use of positive language, and you can always give quotations because you're expected to. So if you say the writer has used positive language, just make sure that you provide a quotation. The list of activities Monjel has been involved in and the repetition of every. So you see the writer's language has been well analyzed by the candidate. Repetition, how and why the writer is using repetition in capitals. You can see even the capitalization has been noticed. The description of the problems the school faces. So there is a description. Sometimes you may look at the list of things that the writer is using, the descriptions that the writer may use, and also how the writer is contrasting two things, the use of quotations. So basically you can see, if you look at these points, the candidate is supposed to identify the linguistic and the structural devices that the writer is using to create a particular effect. So you're expected to show a perceptive understanding and analysis of language and structure, and you need to show how these are used by writers to achieve effects, including the use of vocabulary, sentence structure. You may talk about simple, compound, complex sentences and why the writer is using such, and other language features. So this is a bit of a complicated task, but it's very interesting if you are a reader, and if you at least, about to start reading, because you are now going to be a examination candidate very soon. So make sure that your reading is not just only for entertainment, but you read for a particular purpose. You analyze the writer's language and you try to understand why the writer is using language in such a way and what effects are created through that. So this task will be much more easier for you then. Let's move on to question number 4. Read text 2 in the extracts booklet, adapted from an article called After Study Activities. So please remember that my purpose of this video is not to discuss a particular paper and the answers, but my objective is to show you the way the questions are formed and which assessment objectives are really focused on. So therefore, I will not be really going into the content of the questions and the answers. I will be looking at the format and the structure and the purpose of the questions. So once again, here it says question number 4. It's more like the question number 1. You are given 1 mark and you're supposed to use your interpretation skills, your ability to read and understand, and then pull up certain ideas. The question number 5, the writer offers some advice about finding the right activity. Using lines 22 and 31, identify 2 points the writer makes. So just like question number 1 and 2, you are given the line number, so it's very easy for you to find the information, and then you need to find out 2 points for the answer. So you can see that these are very easy activities because it's just a matter of reading, understanding the text, and selecting the necessary information for you to fill up the gaps. So this is actually based on text 2. So remember, question number 4 onwards, the questions are based on text 2, not text 1. Question number 6. Explain how the writer persuades the reader to consider trying after study activities. So this is also somewhat like the previous question we discussed, question number 3. This is very much like question number 3. If you look at, it's given the same number of marks, 10 marks, and the assessment objective is the same as in question 3. You're supposed to understand and analyze how writers use linguistic and structural devices to achieve their effect. So if you look at some of these points given, the candidate has commented on the opening questions and how it engages the reader. The candidate has given quotations and talking about the list, the lists provided by the writer, use of questions, use of listing of the benefits. The writer has mentioned a range of benefits and even using an informal and friendly tone. So once again, you can see the focus is on the language, the linguistic units, and the structure of the writer's writing and how it's going to achieve certain effects. Moving on to question number 7, this is where we actually involve both text 1 and text 2, because if you read the question, you can see it says refer to both text 1 and text 2 to answer the following question. So this is where you need to learn how to compare texts, compare how the writers of text 1 and text 2 present ideas and perceptives about after study activities. So basically, you need to respond in a way that you show your understanding of both the texts, and also you need to exhibit a varied and comprehensive range of comparisons between the texts. So as a candidate, you should be able to analyze the writer's ideas, perceptives, including how theme, language, structure, and other language elements are really making certain, similar ideas and reflections between the texts. References should be balanced across both texts, discriminating and fully support the points being made. So if you are making a point, make sure that you are providing enough evidences or quotations or certain facts. So make sure that you provide a proper comparison between the two texts and make sure that you put equal weight on text A and text B when you are doing the comparison. For example, if you look at these points, text 1 is informative, but text 2 is persuasive. So you can't just say it. First, you have to show why you say it's informative and why you say the other is persuasive. Text 1 is about one activity, whereas text 2 mentions many activities. So you can give few examples. Text 1 mentions individuals' reactions, but text 2 does not refer to individuals. Once again, you can provide some quotations and evidences. Text 1 is enthusiastic and text 2 is encouraging. So this is your ability to understand the writer's way of using language, his intentions, his use of characters, and it's about a lot of things and the intention of writing, the audience that he is sort of focusing on. So you need to look at many parts or even a variety, a range of things in order to compare and contrast to texts. So if you have any questions with regard to this part of the paper, section A, please drop a message in the comments column so I will be able to answer it. And I'll meet you in another video on section B, which is reading and writing. Everyone have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.